This is a really interesting story. Trump privately expressed support for a 16-week abortion ban. Okay. So why is this an interesting story? Because once again, the one saving grace for the Democratic Party and their chances is the fact that they are not responsible for the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Supreme Court decision that happened under the Brandon administration absolutely is the responsibility of the Republican Party. Okay? And everybody understands that, especially those who are going out to vote. They've demonstrated that they care about this in incredible. It's a motivator. It's massive for turnout. Okay? It's far too extreme for even Republicans and moderates that still need to get abortions sometimes. Okay? It's a medical procedure. We've talked about it a million times over. However, Donald Trump has privately expressed a support for a 16-week abortion ban. In supporting a 60-week ban with exceptions, Donald Trump appears to be trying to satisfy social conservatives who want to further restrict abortion access and voters who want more modest limits. Now, there's two components here that I think are very interesting. One is the fact that I don't even know if Trump actually leaked this. This would be brilliant if Brandon's team lied about it. Okay? This would be very interesting if the Brandon team basically were like, yeah, Trump's actually, I heard, privately expressing support for a 16-week abortion ban. What do I mean by this? Because this forces Trump to come out and openly state a position on abortion. Okay? If he comes out against it, he's cooked, because then you have like the evangelicals who are like, wait a minute, you gave us the abortion ban. What are you doing? You're gonna go out and say that you're now gonna reverse that? That's kind of fucked up. Okay? And if he says he's for it, it's still tricky. If he says he's for it and this was actually his take, it's still tricky. Okay? Why is it tricky? Because if he says he's for 16-week abortion ban, that means he's talking about a federal abortion ban. That means blue states are going to get an abortion ban. Do you understand? Like, the whole states' right thing is just completely cast aside in this situation. It's a massively consequential position to take. Now, obviously, states' rights are unimportant. It's ridiculous. Republicans have never given a shit about it. It was always the writing on the wall that they would inevitably try to ban it at the federal level. However, here's what's really interesting. No way the DNC is that sick said. The second component that I want to mention here that I think the media is doing, that I think is gross, is the fact that this article makes it seem like this is a modest proposal. This is not a modest proposal at all. This literally further extends the most insane parts of the most reactionary proposal that harms the Republican Party. How is this a modest proposal? This is a federal abortion ban. There's nothing modest about it at all. This is unimaginable. Unimaginable cruelty. The fact that these fucking dipshits at the New York Times, and I even saw like a clip on MSNBC from like a NPR lady talking about it as though like Trump is retriangulating, it seems, and being like a politician here. It's really interesting. It's like, it blows my mind that these guys have the audacity to still run with the line that abortion is a divisive subject. Okay? 16-week national abortion ban with 3 exceptions in case of rape, incest, or to save the life of a mother is not a modest proposal at all. Where do they say modest? You're forcing words into their mouths? Did you read the subtitle? It's not that hard. Like, what? What do you mean? Like I'm paraphrasing off of the direct subtitle that we're currently reading. Are you okay? Are you having an aneurysm? What's going on? Anyway, thanks. Someone told me you're more likely to get noticed on stream if you're dumb on purpose. But Biden could have nuked the Supreme Court and filled it with Democrats. He clearly doesn't care. Where do they say modest? You're forcing words in their mouth. Okay. So I'm kind of our massively libbed up chatter even is saying that I'm kind of disappointed in the New York Times. Wow. New York Times is losing the massive Brandon heads in the chat. It's really fucked up. Okay. So let me find the MSNBC clip unless you guys have seen it already, unless you can find it for me. What is it? Mara Leeson, right? I think she's the one on MSNBC that the NPR lady that was on. Like, this is a person who is an NPR political correspondent at the White House for 36 fucking years. She's been at NPR. She goes on MSNBC and this is what she says. Okay. Incredible stuff. I fucked it up. Oh, here it is. Let's look at this. It's crazy to me.
Issue that has been in the spotlight this week, abortion, Mara, because revelations, New York Times first to report, NBC News has confirmed that Trump is considering backing a 16-week federal ban. He likes, I'm told, a nice round number. What do you make of this? What's the implications?
Well,
here?
there's two aspects of this. Democrats are going to say he's for a national ban. He doesn't want states to decide. Every blue state that's codified Roe, that's going to go in the garbage can. So that's one impact of it. But the second thing that I think is incredibly interesting is that Donald Trump is acting like a normal politician. He usually doesn't do that, but he's trying, if this story is true, to move to the center on abortion.
16-week national ban is the moving to the center on abortion? Are you on crack cocaine, lady? Like, sure, after fucking 35 years of NPR, maybe the abortion thing doesn't impact you directly, okay? But that is the most insane thing I've ever heard. Wow, Donald Trump is retriangulating on abortion. The center of what are we talking about? The center of hell? The fuck do you mean the center? Bro, this is on MSNBC, okay? MSNBC is supposed to be the Fox News of the left. This is psychotic. It blows my mind. Wow, Donald Trump is really centering on the whole immigration debate by saying he's only going to kill Guatemalan migrants directly by firing line and not the Venezuelan ones. Sick. Thanks. It just like it blows my mind. What is this if not consistently trying to work at the behest of the most reactionary forces in this country as you normalize deeply radical positions that would be unimaginable 5 years ago? It's so fucking insane.
For the general election, to get more where the majority of voters are. And you know what? There is a consensus on abortion in this country. It used to be called Roe. 16 weeks is a little earlier than Roe, but...
A little earlier than Roe? Hello? 16 weeks is nothing. Come on, man. This is crazy. Like, it blows my mind. This is a celebrated journalist at the NPR. Okay? This is a person who's been in the media for years and years and years. She's covered all of this shit. You know 16 weeks is not a just a little bit earlier than Roe. Okay? And Roe is protective. This is restrictive. Okay? This is crazy.
People want abortion to either be mostly legal with some exceptions or mostly illegal with some exemptions.
Some people don't know they're pregnant. Not everyone has consistent periods. Exactly. The reason why you put any kind of restrictions on this, the reason why you put any kind of restrictions on abortion and it being bad ultimately is because many people don't even know if they're pregnant or not. Okay. And 16 weeks is incredibly restrictive. Also, some people mistake when talking about weeks. Roe had a floor limit of 22 weeks, not a ceiling of 16. Exactly. And that was just like the entry point. Roe was fetal viability, which is generally considered to be around 23 to 24 weeks. That was the minimum that states had to abide by, not the maximum. Okay? That's the major difference here. The minimum that states have to abide by is a standard that you do against red states that want to have further restrictions on abortion. Abortion should not be limited at any point. Why? Well, because 80% or 90% of abortions happen in the first trimester. Okay? However, all of the other abortions that come after the first trimester, the remaining 10%, happen almost exclusively due to medical complications. Okay? A lie has been told for generations now, working at the behest of the most reactionary forces in this country to make it seem like women are getting abortions on demand for funsies. Okay? That's not the truth. That's not the truth at all. There is not a single state in this country where you can just go and get an abortion in the third trimester just for the fun of it all. Okay? This is a medical decision, oftentimes a very traumatic one, for parents that wanted to carry a pregnancy to term. Okay? And now cannot due to genuine complications. You cannot go and get an abortion in the third trimester in any state in the United States of America for just funsies, for the fuck of it. That is a lie. Every state that allows third trimester abortions, okay, only allow it when there are medical complications. Medical complications that even include psychological, mental complications as well, on top of everything else. But you have to show a real valid reason, a psychiatric complication as well. But you have to show your doctor a valid reason to fucking be able to get a third trimester abortion. Okay? That's it. This is precisely the reason why this conversation is bullshit and completely pushed for by some of the dumbest people on the planet. And 90% abortion is pill-based too, right? Yes. Yes. First trimester abortions are, a relatively uncomplicated medical process as far as medical processes goes. This doesn't mean that it's like not significant. But yes, for the most part, it's like a heavy flow period basically after you get a pill. Obviously, we have watched, it's uninvasive for the most part, but obviously we have watched so many of the issues arise in red states that immediately pushed for incredibly restrictive abortion laws, criminalizing abortion. Okay? Putting a dumbass legislator and lawyers into the conversation that should be kept between a medical professional and the patient. We also know, and there's a shit ton of empirical evidence for this, that criminalizing abortions does not make abortions rare. It does not stop abortions from happening. It just makes it so that people go and get back alley abortions, as a matter of fact. Okay? And that procedure makes it dangerous. Back alley abortions cause further reproductive complications by hundreds of thousands every single year around the world. Because ultimately, without the carrier being interested in carrying a pregnancy to term, there is no viability for the fetus. Okay? Yes, the term for a miscarriage is a spontaneous abortion, but you'll never hear the Nutter Butters condemn people who experience spontaneous abortion. No, they do. People have been criminalized in the past for having miscarriages. That's the other part of this. Legislating this process also creates a really fucked up situation where people get criminalized for having miscarriages because you don't know. You don't know if the person had a real miscarriage, a spontaneous one, or a medically induced miscarriage. Genuine question: if 90% of abortions of the first trimester and the last 10% are extreme cases, why the 16-week plus exceptions ban bad? That sounds exactly like what covers when people get abortions anyway, because there are still people outside of the 16-week process that need abortions. And anytime you fucking put any kind of ban on abortion, any kind of restriction on abortion, you create a legal complication. And this is a bad question, but I'm going to explain it, okay? You create legal complications for people that are normally supposed to get a routine medical process. Okay? That's number one. Number two, ectopic pregnancies require an abortion, but doctors are terrified of offering that medical process because they can't make the assessment if it's like if it's one that is going to land them in legal trouble. We have seen many cases of this already happen in the United States of America, one that is being deliberated on in the courts in Texas right now as we speak. An ectopic pregnancy can kill you, but if a doctor doesn't want to take that risk because they don't want to go to jail because of the abortion bans, then what are they supposed to do? Well, we know what they're supposed to do. Texas Supreme Court ruled against the woman who sought abortion hours after she said she'll travel out of state. A state district judge granted the request last week, but the Texas Supreme Court directed the lower court to vacate its order Monday. A Texas woman whose fetus has a fatal diagnosis, who was awaiting a decision from the Texas Supreme Court about whether she would be allowed to get an abortion, said Monday that she has decided to leave the state of Texas for the procedure. An ectopic pregnancy is a fetus developing outside the womb, meaning it's not possible to give birth through the canal. It's literally floating in your abdomen. And it can kill you. And it does kill you, as a matter of fact, in many cases. People do not understand that, especially in our medical structure, the pay-for-play healthcare that we have in the United States of America, that also offers the worst results and out of any OECD nation, pretty much. Okay? That a pregnancy, even a healthy one, can be a legitimate issue for the carrier. Any pregnancy is a massive health complication waiting to happen. We have one of the worst infant mortality rates out of all the OECD nations. We have one of the most pregnancy fatality rates out of any of the OECD nations. Okay? Remember that. And the rates get unimaginably high if you're a black woman, for example. Like, there's a massive disparity here. The youngest premature baby to be born life with a healthy life was 23 weeks and 4 days. Unless there's a serious medical problem, it seems wrong to allow an abortion at that stage or later. Is that not an understandable restriction? No, it is not an understandable restriction for the complications that I just mentioned. Because when you add additional qualifiers, they're just bullshit qualifiers. Oh, we'll just ban abortions, but with the exception of like medical reasons, or rather incest, rape, or save the life of a mother, are not decent exceptions, because a rape trial takes an incredibly long time to come to a fucking conclusion. Incest and rape is very common. There's also privacy concerns, especially when you're talking about incest and rape. These exceptions are not real exceptions. These exceptions are simply there to make it seem like this is a reasonable position. These are the people who still are going to get cooked in this process. Why are people so obsessed with banning abortions? I personally cannot imagine caring what other people. Am I just weird? No, you're not weird. You're actually the overwhelmingly popular position on this. Your position is like basically the same as recognizing that at the top of the hour there's a 3-minute ad break. Overwhelmingly popular. Most people don't even think about it. They know it's happening, and they don't even think about it because they are most likely subscribed for $5 or for free, and they don't even see the ads at the top of the hour, so they already have like unlimited, unrestricted access to the stream with no paywalls whatsoever. Now, of course, if you want to continue having unrestricted, unlimited access to the stream, all you need to do is subscribe yourself. You can also get gifted a sub. If you're lucky, here's the 3-minute ad break now. My wife hemorrhaged really bad during delivery of our son, and she had a healthy pregnancy. She almost died. She's black, and everything went right. Yeah. Hold on. Also, can't the doctor lie and say that the mother's life is not in danger? I mean, that part is not even... That part basically at this point is just like not even significant. Tibbles too, thank you for the 10 tier 1 gift subs, allowing 10 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. Okay. Hey. What are you barking at? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Sean the Black is in the building.
Was this the camera right there?
Yep.
Oh.
There
What's
it
up,
is.
Chat? Look,
Kaya had a racist moment immediately.
Saw a black person, immediately barked.
Yeah, it's fucked up. Well, I think it's more so that you just walked in. They've been barking at people at the door nonstop this past week. It's really bad.
She's really well behaved. My dog is like all over the place.
Oh yeah, no, she's super well trained. She's gonna shed on you like crazy.
That's all right.
All right. We are currently talking about the abortion restrictions, the abortion ban, and I'm gonna continue talking about this for a little bit, and then we'll do some fun stuff.
Okay.
So, anyway, but we'll also talk about like streamer awards, how you felt, because I want to hear your perspective, considering that you're relatively new in the space,
Right.
Because for me, it's like I do this every fucking year. But anyway, so as I was saying, as far as the abortion ban goes, the fact that they are trying to position this as like a moderate one is ridiculous. This should not be a federal ban on abortion. This should be a federal ban on trying to criminalize abortion, which is what the Roe v. Wade decision was, versus this being a nationwide, federally mandated abortion ban that is completely ridiculous. Okay? So, Sean, explain Cat Williams to Hasan, please. He doesn't understand. What do you mean? What don't I understand about Cat Williams? But yeah, this will be good for this will be most likely a gift to the Democratic Party. The more you talk about abortion and any kind of bans and any kind of restrictions on abortion, the more voters will remember that there is any kind of ban that the Republicans push for, and will vote accordingly. This is actually a very lenient ban period coming from a woman in Texas. It's 6 weeks. No, this sucks. The notion that like we're supposed to look at it in a post Roe v. Wade world. The notion that we're supposed to look at like a 16-week abortion ban as a positive is ridiculous. No. Don't feed in to the right-wing framing on this issue. Okay? Do not do that. That's ridiculous. The goal, I mean, this is what the media does. When the coverage comes in, as though this is like a more modest limit, okay? You all of a sudden start believing that it is actually maybe a modest limit. What the fuck are you talking about? This is phenomenally restrictive. And this is just simply talking points in case of rape or incest or to save the life of the mother. That's precisely the reason why there are plenty of places where they have abortion bans. This has been an issue that has like caused people to get in trouble, both criminally, but also on top of that, even fucking suffer health complications. That's it. Roe had a 28 week viability ban unless doctor ordered. No. Roe v. Wade had a 24-week ban that was a limit, like a bottom limit, not a top limit. That was created so that red states could not lower that or make it more restrictive, which is why red states, that was an allowance. It was not an upper limit. It was basically the minimum. Do you understand? This is the reason why states that wanted to restrict abortion access had to go through other mechanisms like a litany of red tape, right? Trap laws. I think it was trap laws, if I'm not mistaken. Red tapes that they would try to make it so that it was impossible to have an abortion clinic in your state. But it was basically a workaround. All right. Anyway, I didn't know I was pregnant until 18 weeks. If I could get an abortion, I would have been being a parent at 15, my worst nightmare. Also, for medical exemptions, they have to wait longer until it is life-threatening, meaning more women still die. It's horrifying to know a fetus means more than the fully formed human in front of a doctor. I've had medical tests delayed until I get P to prove an imaginary fetus doesn't exist. A lot of guys don't realize now you have to prove you're not preggo every single time you have any procedure done. Okay. Yeah, this legislation is terrifying, and the fact that like liberal media is basically playing a role in making it come across as though it's like moderate is insane. I hate it. I despise it. I don't know what else to say. We're going to move on to the Democratic Party.